Jack and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Jack Jill Show. I'm Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting this week from sunny Southern California, where 60 degrees is a tad cold for the locals.
Oh my gosh, this
you
weather is
noticed that?
something else. It's cold for me.
Oh my goodness.
I grew up in the tundra in Michigan. It is amazing to me. You know what I've noticed about the weather here? There are 4 seasons, period. Right?
It's true.
Unlike Arizona, where there's 2. But they're just a lot more mild. So you get the changing of you get the fall and the winter and the rainy season in the summer and the spring.
It's true.
Not necessarily in that order, but they're so much more mild. In the Midwest, it's just ice. Everything freezes. The ground freezes, the water freezes. And then in the summer, you can't even breathe. It's so hot.
Right, and sticky and humid.
The pendulum swings so much further there.
I think it's hilarious because our kid number 3, who has lived his whole life in Arizona, is now found himself in Southern California, and he's kind of a wimp when it comes to the temperature. I don't know if you've noticed that, Jack.
I want to put him out in the cold and see what happens. It's like in the Michigan cold.
It's kind of funny. He's like,
sound like an old man.
But it's 90 degrees in Scottsdale, and it's 65 here, and he's like freezing. This is ridiculous.
I wonder if there's any truth to that old saying, like, warm weather thins your blood out.
Oh,
like,
I don't know.
Like any real truth.
I do think that it takes different people different lengths of time to get acclimated. You know, for me, it took me a long time to get acclimated to the heat in Arizona.
Did you ever really get acclimated to it?
Not really. Well, yes, I did. Actually, I think at the end there, I really did.
Because you knew it was over, maybe.
Well, just getting in my car wasn't so much of a drastic event as it was when I first moved there.
Jill used to carry a pair of oven mitts.
Oh my goodness! I'd have towels. Yeah.
This car she has now has a wooden steering wheel.
Yeah.
Not because it's a Model T, just because it's it's got a wooden steering wheel for accent, for interior accent.
Right.
She would wear oven mitts.
But I used to, when I first moved from Southern California to Arizona, and the heat was like, what? And I'd have to, you'd wear shorts, and you get in a car, and you have leather seats. Yeah. I'd have to have a towel there.
Sure.
I couldn't stand the heat. And then over the years, of course, too, I was spent every day in the mall, air conditioned and cool, or movies. I would kind of hide from the heat. So now, and then at the end, I was kind of used to it, acclimated. It was not that big of a deal. I could be outside. You know
what this reminds me of? Is perpetuating stereotypes. So when I moved to Arizona, and I'm from Michigan, I told everybody, I'm going to move to Arizona, and all the stereotypes came out. I had a whole list. I named them.
Like that's where all the old people live.
Yeah. So here's a few of them. Oh, why would you want to move to Arizona? There's only old people there.
It's the retirement capital of the West.
It's hot all the time. Are you kidding me? The seasons don't even change.
Right.
ASU, which is a huge college campus, is right in Scottsdale, Phoenix. So let's forget about this old people thing. There are retirement communities in Arizona, just like there are in Michigan. Mm-hmm. It's hot all the time. About 4 or 5 months out of the year, it's hot. 2 or 3 of those months, it's unbearably hot. The rest of the time, the weather's perfect.
It's really nice. It's true.
Here's something that I heard about California that just cracked me up. Everyone there's a hippie.
Oh,
that still to this day cracks me up.
That makes me happy.
Some of the most
I love that
wealthy,
comment.
conservative people. I don't care about this stuff, by the way, either way, right or left. Some of the most wealthy, intelligent, conservative people I've ever met live in California, Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
They just see it on election day as a state that's going to go Democrat, and then there are people that I have talked to that said I will never, ever set foot in California for that reason.
So funny.
Because it's been wrecking their election day since they were 18.
That's hilarious.
I know. Total fiction.
Right.
Absolute fiction.
One of my favorite observations from people who live elsewhere is that they don't see any work getting done here. They think that all we do is ride our bikes up and down the Strand, which we do.
It's not that far off.
But we are getting work done. So I'm here to say.
Here's another California stereotype that cracks me up. Why would you want to live in California? It's all just going to fall off into the ocean anyway.
Oh, that's a great one to share. Thank you, Jack. Some of the people, like Northern Californians, wish that Southern California would just break off and float away. I have heard some San Francisco people say that.
What a crack
That
up.
was a long time ago, though. So, good stuff.
Here's to break those stereotypes down. Here's some information, and I'm from the Midwest, so I'm old school about this. But California, if California were a country on its own, not part of the United States, it would be the 7th largest economy in the world.
And I'm doing my part, Jack, to help that grow.
If California and Texas got together, it would be over. It would be the largest economy in the world. Those 2 states.
That's an amazing fact.
I know.
Thank you.
It has to do with agriculture and oil and a bunch of other stuff, but I'm proud of where we live.
Does real estate have to have something to do with all of that?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
I'm now going to say a bunch of stuff on air.
Okay.
I believe real estate itself is not really an industry. Real estate is responds to industries like oil. Here in Southern California, we've got Toyota, Honda, Northrop, geez, you name it. I mean, some major world-class manufacturing headquarters are in Los Angeles. And not to mention the movie industry. So all those people need a place to live. And the more successful that they are, the more healthy the real estate environments become. So there's a lot of people, I'm going to get a lot of email over this. Real estate itself responds to industries. You can't force real estate. Now, that said, if you look at the market in Arizona, which is there is no real economy in Arizona except for retired people. That's the real economy there, and education. Mm-hmm. There's huge universities there.
It's true.
Those 2 things have this in common. People come in from other places and they bring their money with them. So it is a propped up house of cards type of real estate. I'm not to say it's going to crash at all. But it's not a self-sustaining environment like Texas. The Midwest is totally self-sustaining, and like industrial goods and services economy like all of California.
When you mean not self-sustaining, you mean that because of the college picked up and moved to another city, that very well could sink the ship.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Okay. Or if the weather got bad and it just became well, look at it this way: the vast majority of people in Southern California get up and they go to work and they have a paycheck and so they can pay their mortgage. I'm grossly oversimplifying. The vast majority of the people in Arizona, if you remove the college, and let's just say it's the people who go to college and the people who retire there, they bring their money with them. Correct. Southern California people actually live here.
Oh, I understand now.
So, God, I'm going to get a ton of emails.
This is good.
Those are my thoughts. I think that if you're in the real estate business like we are, and you want to buy and sell houses, you want to, in general, buy houses where this is an oversimplification, where there's a real economy and there's a real turnover, and the equalizer or the stat that you can smoke out with that is days on market. That's not to say you can't do it. Las Vegas is a retirement destination, just like Phoenix. So we buy and sell houses in Phoenix and Nevada all the time.
Do you think it makes a difference if your game plan is to flip and get out versus buy and hold?
No, I just think that you can make money in both markets just as efficiently. Okay. This is more philosophy than reality.
I like this.
You do?
Words by Jack Butala.
Oh my gosh. How to make a fool out of yourself on your own show by Jack.
No, it's really good. Don't say that.
Entertaining real estate investment.
I think it's very entertaining.
Mostly false, but entertaining.
Yep.
Like a reality show.
Yep. Today,
Jill and I talk about the value of a face-to-face meeting. Is that all gone away with the Skype? And we'll talk about that. Before we get into that, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the jackjill.com online community. It's free. Okay.
Luke asks, so I ran into a guy at the notary today getting a bunch of deeds notarized, and we got talking about land deals. He buys land and sells it full time. He's been doing this for over 20 years. He focuses in on Arizona, and more specifically, one county now. Used to do all the counties over time. He adds roads, water, power, etc.
Sweet.
This is great. He also has a guy that digs septic systems. He gets a deal because he does so many that the guy takes his backhoe out to the land and digs a 12-foot hole to test the ground and design the septic system
around
for
the land.
Wow.
So
he literally buys land and gets it tested by his friend for septic and adds septic on paper, plans and phone number to get installed to the land. So it's kind of already thought through. Wow. He drills water wells and splits the land up 5 ways, sharing the well.
I've done that.
He also he has house plans he adds to the land. Hearing all this and much more, I started thinking I could add house plans. Why not have a half a dozen house plans all digitized up and ready to go? Different house sizes to choose from. Give them away to all my buyers. Sell the land with house plans that fit the land. Okay, this is a brilliant way to differentiate yourself.
I included this because I'm very, very excited about this and have a lot to say. Go ahead, Jill.
Should make a lot easier to sell, right? They don't have to use a plan if they don't want to. It just makes the land more credible. Maybe someday do this other value adds too. The house plans would just be an easy download. I could email them over with a recorded deed. What do you guys think? I'm going to get into licensing trouble with the architect, or am I going to get into licensing trouble with the architects?
Oh, nope.
I probably have to source plans that are not licensed or have copyright clauses attached.
Or just have them done for you.
Maybe cost more. So I was thinking maybe Jack and Jill could add on house plans to the program. Might help them sell more programs. This is brilliant. Might help all of us sell more land. And might help more people actually move onto some vacant land.
Isn't this a great comment,
Man,
Jill?
Talk about...
I know it's lengthy and you have to pay attention, but so here's the thing. Anything that you do online to make your land look different than the other guy's land who's selling it online is going to really help. And Luke here is taking that way to the end. I mean, this is not smoke and mirrors. This is, hey, this house could actually work here. And with this guy that he just met, here's a septic system that you need that's custom to the land. So yeah, does it cost a little bit of money? Yeah, but geez, especially if you got a bunch of property all in one area.
Talk about solving a problem for people. Some people can't envision this, and they don't even know where to start. But they know that's the life they want. They want to be out off the grid, and to have that thought through and planned. And I'm wondering if he's going to take it to the next step and make sure, approved by the county. I'm assuming that's all part of this process, that they know this structure will work, and maybe somebody's even already done it, that kind of a thing. That's just so much value to the buyer. They don't have to do it, but they have the option.
Well, and
they know what's possible.
Here's how I play it out in my head, because you and I are famous for saying, do not do anything to the real estate. Just flip it as fast as you can.
Right.
So this is veering from that a little bit, but how I would do it is I would express it like this. Here's the name of the guy that does the septic stuff in the area. He charges X. We don't vouch for his work. We haven't done it, but we know that he does custom stuff.
Right.
Here's a digitally embedded image on the internet of what this house would look like right on this specific piece of land. Have we built one like this? No. And full disclosure, we are told that this could work, but we don't know. And we're not sure about the licensing requirements. It's an unincorporated area in Navajo County, Arizona, so we know just through the grapevine that it's pretty easy to get stuff done here. But please check it out yourself. Here's the phone number and the name that you should talk to. So what I'm saying is, we're not taking responsibility for any of these things. We're just showing what's possible.
You and I are thinking the same thing.
If you can do a 3D vision cool house, and I'm not talking about most of the people who buy this asset type, I'm talking about land, not houses. They just want to get out of Dodge. They do not. They don't need a mansion or any of that. They want to buy a piece of property for 10 or 15 grand. And if it got house plans that they can build themselves. For 30, 40, 50,000 bucks, maybe 1 or 2 room house, and have no bills for the rest of their life, and grow some food in the back. That's our customer.
I personally would like to take it a step further and make sure it's okay. I don't really want to sell plans to an asset I don't know is really allowed. For example, there are areas that we have sold in southern Arizona. There's counties where, depending on the certain area of it's in the same county and it's still rural vacant land, but the zoning is a little bit tweaked. There's certain subdivisions in areas that you have to have site-built properties. You can't have mobile. And you can go 2 miles and it looks the same. You can do mobile. So having that a little bit figured out and gone that extra step on the county, and it's not crazy. Exactly. So it's not a lot of extra work. I'm not saying don't go pull permits and do that for the property, because that you don't want to waste your time and your money if that's really not what they want. But if you've gone a step further and you know this subdivision, all the properties that you own in the subdivision, they have to be site built, and this meets all the criteria. Take it and run.
Here's how you can avoid all of that. By buying property in unincorporated areas and unsubdivided areas. And when you look at her legal description, Jill's 100% right, by the way. But here's what you do if you want to avoid all this. If you look at a legal description and it says the northeast corner, the southeast corner of the northwest corner of Cochise County, Arizona, APN 12345, you're not going to have any regulations within reason. You will have some state regulations and some county regulations, but you won't have city. It's unincorporated land. You won't have any city regulations or subdivision regulations, and those are the problems. City regs and sub-regs are the issues. Mm-hmm. And you can smoke all this out with, like Jill said, 1 or 2 phone calls. Mm-hmm. To answer Luke's question at the end, Jill and I are planning to have online education where in real time in 2018, where you sign up for the class and it's a big webinar and we all send out mail and we all actually buy property, and it's a very hands-on direct way. And Luke's asking can we add a house to the program or maybe a module, and the answer is yes.
Yeah, I was just going to add that same thing. We don't have to necessarily do it, but at least that's the whole point of the online education is we will have a dialogue about stuff like this, all of us together, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, and if 10 or 15 people say, if you guys had a class on house plans, we would take it.
Right.
We'll
all share them.
We'll go through the work and really, really offer a valuable education situation.
Love it.
If you have a question and you'd like to hear the answer on this show, post it on the jackjill.com online community. Today's topic: the value of face-to-face meetings. Are they dead? Are they alive? What do you think, Jill? This is kind of right up your alley, actually.
I think there's huge value in face-to-face meetings.
Me too.
There's no better way to really gauge and build rapport, build a relationship, but even gauge the conversation than face-to-face.
I'm going to ask you something.
You think that you know what that person's feeling when you're talking to them on the phone. You think that even though they're saying, oh, it's a great idea, they're going along, they are secret, they might have the worst look on their face going, you're nuts, this is crazy. You can't smoke that out. But face-to-face, you can tell. So
let me paint a picture, and then I'm going to rapid fire ask you a bunch of questions about should you meet this person face-to-face, or is it better that you don't? So you own a real estate company, and what you do, you're a data person. You send a bunch of letters out, and the whole point to sending these letters out is to buy undervalued real estate. So here's the types of people that you meet throughout the day. You have a wholesale buyer. This is the person that's your customer that you buy. You send all this mail out, and there's sellers, and you talk to sellers and stuff. But in the end, the guy that pays you, the wholesaler, in a house situation, he's the guy who renovates it. Or in a land situation, he's got a big website, or he maybe collects property, but he's the guy you sell everything to. Do you face-to-face meet those people?
Yes.
All right, so good. So, and I agree with you. You definitely want to meet the person that you're selling the property to on a wholesale basis, like a guy that buys 10 houses a month from you.
Yes.
Or a person who buys 80% of your land, like with us. You want to know that person really well.
You want to build a relationship. I guess for me...
Send a bunch of mail out to a person who owns like 50 houses, and they call you back and they say, absolutely, I want to sell my house for $180,000. When can we meet? Do you meet that person or not?
What do you do?
No way.
Okay.
I never ever meet a seller. I've done it twice in my life. Almost 16,000 deals we've done.
It's true. I mean,
When's the last time you met a seller?
it's been a long time. I have done it. Usually it's out of necessity, and they're really local, and we need to do it really fast. And it's easier for me to meet them in person than to wait to the notary and do all that good stuff. But it's really not.
So the reason I wrote this show is because I think you gravitate toward meeting people and really getting to know them and stuff. And I absolutely gravitate toward the other way. I just think it's inefficient.
Okay.
Like you just mentioned, well, they can't see what they're feeling or what they're thinking. I don't want to know that.
For me, you know what? It depends on what the meeting is about. How's that?
So that's my point. That's kind of what this episode is about. Like, there are certain top relationships,
right,
where it's, I think, incredibly important to meet face to face, and there are certain the relationship type dictates
Correct.
the meeting. Yes or no?
Right. Like most of my staff and you face to face, bad idea. So I'm just kidding.
They don't let me talk to customers anymore.
No,
they don't let me talk.
Maybe that's what this is about.
It is exactly what this is about.
Okay, so is the real topic, why doesn't Jill let me have face-to-face meetings with anyone? I'm just kidding. Okay, so I have a question. Do you think video or Skype video is considered face-to-face?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't at all.
Could you interview a prospective employee? Do you think you could have a valuable interview via Skype with a potential employee?
Yes. But I don't think it has to be the end all.
Right.
It depends. If we're going to work with this person in our office, Jill and I have separate offices. I have a staff and she has a staff, and we do totally different stuff. And those people we spend a lot of time with individually.
Right.
Yeah, you have to meet those people and work with them a little bit to see.
Right.
So, but I think the face-to-face meetings are not dead. If you're going to do a lot of business with somebody,
Right.
I think I would even take it another step and say you need to be friends with them. The people that we wholesale houses to, I like them. I like those people. They're people that are like me. They think like me.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sweat the details like I don't. They're just they know they're going to make a certain amount of money per deal, and we all laugh about it and have a good time doing it. I like having face-to-face. Retail sellers, I want any part of that. Go ahead.
I've noticed a shift. I remember when it was all face-to-face and there was a lot of business travel years ago. We didn't have the video options. You were meeting with somebody on the East Coast to discuss a big transaction. You got on a plane and you went to the East Coast and you had a transaction.
That's right.
You talk about that a lot when you were doing commercial, I don't know what you want to call it, with your
acquisitions.
Thank you.
Commercial real estate acquisitions.
That was the term I was searching for. Thank you. But you did. You traveled a lot. You said you were on a plane more than you were home, traveling to close these deals. Then I saw the internet, and then all of a sudden business travel went way down. Nobody was getting on a plane, and we're all doing video conferencing or conference calls. I saw a spike in all of these internet options to hold meetings, and I think that was the trend. And it was almost looked down upon that you needed to go. You didn't need to go. We could just have a video meeting, and we could do it, any day, anytime, anywhere around the world. That part, I think, was a benefit, I think, though, too, is if you wanted to have a meeting with somebody in Tokyo, you didn't necessarily have to fly to Tokyo. You could have a video meeting. So those were good. But I saw it almost trend a little too much, get too impersonal.
Yeah, me too.
And now I see, I think we swung way too far one direction, and I think we've now swung back the middle, and I love it. And I think this is a good spot. I personally feel, especially for our business, we have a good mix of, do we really need to meet this person meet this person face to face? We probably don't. We can have a three-way phone call and just, that's what we need.
Right.
Yeah. And there are some other meetings, like we had a guy come to our office just the other day, talking about some of the transactions we're going to complete here locally.
He's a new buyer.
Right.
New wholesale buyer.
And we know him. It wasn't a brand new meeting. We didn't meet him for the first time, and that may have been part of it, because we wanted to talk to him about something else, a new little venture that we're doing with him, and that I think was perfect. And it wasn't a long meeting too. It doesn't have to be face to face. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. It doesn't have to be over lunch. It could just be a 20-minute, hey, why don't you stop by my office event.
Here's my whole point. Meetings and talking, you have a finite amount of time during a day. And you have to really choose who you're going to meet with that's going to benefit you from a money standpoint and an efficiency standpoint. And 99% of the time for me, it's incredibly inefficient to actually talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. Talking and meeting people in person is maybe the greatest way to just get sidetracked and waste time. I think Jill would probably totally disagree.
That's funny. Well, I mean, you're right. That's true. And the travel time and all of that's wasted. You have to weigh that against the importance of your face-to-face meeting. So I think that's a brilliant point.
Which is why I don't think you should meet a seller. You're going to meet a seller and talk to them. It's a one deal. You're never going to see them again. If you meet with a wholesale buyer and you do 10 deals a month, that's a worthwhile relationship.
Correct. You and I have strategically requested face-to-face meetings with some of our vendors because that's the best way to get what we want.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. You brought this up the other day. I don't remember who you were talking to, but you brought up that we are the only licensed provider of all three of the top data sources in the country, well, in the world, really. So,
RealQuest, which is CoreLogic, Title Pro, which is Black Knight
Financial Services,
and DataTree, which is First American Title.
So those meetings.
That was a plug.
Right. There's a few of them.
They just plugged our stuff.
Right. That we strategically met with them face to face because we wanted to develop a relationship with them. We want to have a great relationship with them. We want them on our team, and we wanted them to get to know us, so we could get the data, get the access and everything that we wanted. So those face to face meetings are crucial. I think they're crucial in our business.
I'm going to be real straight here. When I decide that we should meet, not us, but when I decide I'm going to go meet somebody, what I say to myself is this. Yeah. All right, it's worth it to meet this guy. We did it with the VP of CoreLogic, RealQuest. Mm-hmm. So, and then what I do is I get in there, and I want this person, by the time I leave, I want this person to have this notion in their head, man, I'd love to go out have a beer with this guy. Mm-hmm. Guy's cracking me up. He's got a good attitude about it, and he's obviously successful. Then you've established their trust. Mm-hmm. You can get anything you want. I do not care if a person who owns a piece of real estate wants to have a beer with me. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I would rather just have them say, God, I just want this guy's money, and I really don't ever want to see him again. Mm-hmm. So that's how I kind of gauge it.
Yep.
You just want to vomit, don't you?
No, I'm saying the same thing.
Oh, good. Okay.
No, I'm totally in agreement, Jack, and I share your viewpoint. Was that a full sentence?
I hope this is being recorded. I hope this is being recorded because I've never heard you say anything like that before. Say it again.
Last time I checked, it is being recorded. Jack, I value your opinion and I share your sentiment.
I'm going to fall over. It's fell out of my stair. Say, Jack, you're right. Say that.
Jack, you're right.
Oh, my God. The trifecta. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket.
Oh, boy.
Well, you've done it again. You've wasted another 30 minutes listening to the Jack and Jill Show. Join us tomorrow where we discuss the essential real estate investor tools that you need. And maybe not so much the non-essential ones, too.
I love it. And we answer B. Walden's question about Title Mind.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. Good show, Jill.
Thank you very much. I was trying to, I think you and I came into the show with the same views, I guess, but we just explained them differently.
Well, my struggle was, talking sucks. Talking with people and letting all these multiple personality type people into your, not multiple personalities. You know what I mean?
That's a whole different issue.
It just sucks.
Yeah.
People suck. There's a massive variable. Data is very consistent, but people are hard to deal with, and I'm very fortunate. I probably should have said this on the show. I'm fortunate to have you because you seriously pick up the brunt of the personal crap that goes on.
Thanks.
I don't say personal crap lightly. I really mean that.
Thank you.
It's a pain in the butt.
I like that you shared, which is true. Your time is valuable, so you got to really be kind of picky here. That's the truth, and I hope that we properly conveyed that.
Exactly.
So it's good. Hey, share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you're listening, and rate us there while you're at it. We are Jack and Jill.
I'm information.
And inspiration.
And we buy undervalued property.